I think super teams are bad for the NBA. I do.
Okay.
I think when you have crazy Kyrie, the Slim Reaper, and fat ass Harden on the same team. I'm sorry, I shouldn't fat shame anybody. Anyway, the point is, I think that this is bad for the NBA. I mean, you clearly shifted power to Brooklyn yesterday, which is fine. I get it. Brooklyn has the assets. They did what they had to do to get this trade done. But it's bad for the Knicks. It's bad for the Celtics. It's bad for the Sixers. In my opinion, it is no slam dunk that get slam dunk.
Got it. Yeah,
it is no slam dunk that the Nets are going to win a championship. It is not.
Yeah.
Okay? But what I think this is a slam dunk that the Knicks are now probably three years further from that. Mainly because Jimmy Dolan's a dick. The Celtics are further away because Jaylen Brown's a disappointment. If you look at the Sixers, they haven't traded Ben Simmons yet. I look at the Nets. Their only issue now is how many more games is Kyrie going to decide he doesn't want to be a basketball player anymore before he figures out he's going to lose that $30, $40 million a year that he's making and finally come back and play basketball with them, because I think that's the only way they get to an elite status.
Yeah, well, I look at, as far as like super teams and putting teams together and things like that, I would say that we should look at what the Lakers did when they acquired Anthony Davis and what some of the questions were. Because some of the questions were, is AD and LeBron together, is that enough to win a championship? Which obviously it has turned out to be enough. But then I compared that situation to the Brooklyn Nets situation, and the main difference is that LeBron and AD can totally coexist together, and they can do it really smoothly. They can do it seamlessly, and it works out really nicely on the floor because AD's a big man, and LeBron can play point or basically any position on the floor, and that allows them to have the flexibility to make it work. I look at Kyrie, Kevin Durant, and James Harden. My first concern is Kyrie Irving. Number one, how long until he gets hurt? Because, by the way, what no one's talking about is not playing is just hurting your ability to stay healthy because you're taking time off that you wouldn't normally take off. Your body's getting out of shape. Like, taking days off as an NBA player is not a wise decision, number one.
Sure.
Number two, I look at James Harden, and this is not a joke. I was looking at videos last night from this past summer when he was playing at the Rico Hines runs and like all these different, NBA pro runs. Dude, the guy was shredded. He's put on at least 20 pounds right now. At least 20 pounds, like without a doubt. So is he going to lose that weight? Is he going to play at that weight? If he does play at that weight, health is a big concern. But the overreaching point here, these three guys are not meant to play together on one NBA floor. Kevin Durant, in my opinion, is the best scorer in the league. James Harden, obviously is a phenomenal scorer. Some would say he's the best scorer in the league. And Kyrie is an on-the-ball guy. So how is all this going to work? Who's going to take less reps? Because it's not going to be Kyrie, and I don't think it's going to be James Harden, which tells me it's going to be Kevin Durant.
Do you believe there's any credence to this idea that do you believe there's any credence to this idea that Kyrie Irving doesn't want to be a basketball player anymore? Do you buy the idea in any way, shape, or form? And I guess maybe this is the greater conversation that we're going to have today. Do you buy this idea at all, friends, that Kyrie Irving doesn't love playing NBA basketball and simply wants to retire? As I mess with our camera because I didn't do it before the show started.
Listen, I don't think that Kyrie Irving is in a place where he's like, I don't want to play. Let me just retire. Like, I don't think he's there. What I think this is.
But then how do you explain what he's doing?
Because I think he's comfortable. I think he thinks he's the best guy in the NBA. I think he thinks he's untouchable. I think he thinks he can't be cut. I think he thinks he's some franchise player that can't be replaced. And the fact of the matter is the Nets are better off without him on the floor and just having Kevin Durant and everybody else, because that's how good Kevin Durant is, and that's how good their team chemistry was before this trade, because now the team's completely different. You don't have Jared Allen. You don't have Karis LeVert. Like, the team is totally different now, So I don't think it's a retire thing or I'm tired of playing basketball. I think he thinks he's just too good. I think he thinks that no matter what he does, there won't be repercussions.
Oh, well, I think that's absolutely the truth.
And that to me is worse than the retirement conversation. You know, like the thing that really upsets me here with the Kyrie situation specifically is before the show we watched the video that's been going around, and if you haven't seen it, you can find it. It's not hard to find, but it's very clearly a situation where he flew his sister in from her vacation, wherever she was in her tropical wonderland celebrating her birthday. He flew her in. They had a party. He was there.
Yeah.
And that's that. And there were a ton of people there. So, no, I don't think he should come back until the league says it's okay because the COVID exposure is extremely high. Like, I didn't realize it was like a 50-person thing.
Yeah, bro.
Like, it was a huge party.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, man.
So, from a COVID perspective, his season's done for probably 2 weeks at least, I would say, number one. But then number two, again, if we take this back to basketball, they don't need him now. They don't
See,
need
and
Kyrie
I
Irving.
think this is where we probably part company because I think I think he is essential to them winning a championship. You have guys in specifically James Harden, who we've seen in pressure situations not be able to perform.
That's
we
true.
watched Kevin Durant in the finals go through a long cold snap. And by the way, when he got hurt, I think the Warriors were still going to win an NBA championship without him. I think we've seen one guy in this triple in Brooklyn really perform when the chips are down, and that was Kyrie Irving in the finals with the Cavs. If he don't hit that three, LeBron James doesn't win that championship.
Yeah, but
right? Am I wrong about that?
I disagree as far as Durant's concerned. I think about, like, certainly there's no argument with Harden. I mean, Harden went 0 for 27 in the postseason from three. You know, he just wasn't essentially a non-factor in scoring. But for Kevin Durant, I look at moments like when he brought the ball up the floor against LeBron and hit that three in transition. Absolute cold-blooded three to end the game. You know, I look at situations like that. I look at the fact that Kevin Durant has always given LeBron fits in the postseason when they played. I look back to when they first matched up, when LeBron was in Miami Heat and Kevin Durant was in OKC that first time.
Yes.
And Kevin Durant went off. You know, so like I don't worry so much about Durant. I do worry. I have concerns about Durant's Achilles. I do. That last night was the first back-to-back for him, and he looked great. Like he looks great, but the Achilles is you look great and then you're done. You know, so that's still something I worry about. But as far as this postseason thing, Harden's the guy I worry about. He hasn't proven he'll perform.
Yeah, listen, I think there's a lot of different ways to look at this, and I guess where I come down on this is that I just feel like Kyrie Irving's the clutch guy in the room. And there's going to come a moment where one of these guys has to make a shot. And if I'm a Brooklyn Nets fan, I don't want Kyrie to pass the ball to James Harden when the game's on the line. I don't.
No.
I'm a lot more comfortable with Kevin Durant. He seemed very comfortable going head-to-head against LeBron in the finals, which was one of the most entertaining matchups I think we've ever seen.
Yeah.
But Kyrie Irving's the guy. Now, the problem is there are going to come situations where he's never going to pass the ball.
Right.
Because that's just not who he is. So my struggle is that I don't know who to trust in that situation. I really don't know who to trust because part of me says it's a real problem that Kyrie Irving won't pass the ball. When you have all of this money invested in KD and now Harden, you gave up Jared Allen and you gave up Karis LeVert. And those two guys have been key foundational building blocks of this team for several years. And the other thing that we're not talking about with this team, and maybe you don't agree with this, they're lacking defense.
All right. Yeah.
Because Durant, Kyrie, and James Harden are not try-hard guys on defense. And you look at what Jared Allen brought to the yard every night, and that was he was going to block your shot and he was going to dunk on you.
Yeah.
And there's that badass tough guy, look at my afro and my long-ass legs.
Yes.
That motif that Jared Allen brought to the Nets every night is important.
Yep.
And what I'm saying is, hey, now who's your best big man? Well,
it's Kevin Durant.
It's got to be Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
And now you're going to ask Kevin Durant to play. He's going to have to play the post. They're going to have to be very creative on defense.
And James Harden's not a defensive guy.
No, not at all. So, again, I will just ask you directly, what is it that the Nets have right now that makes them better than the Lakers? Because I don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, if they're matching up in a 7-game series and you're the Nets, your whole mission is to just outscore the Lakers. I mean, you're this trade, by executing this trade the way you executed it and what you gave up for what you got, you're saying, hey, we're going to try and score 130 every night. That's what you're saying. And you're saying, hey, our 130 is going to be better than your 130. We're going to outscore you, and that's just how it's going to be. And when you match up against the Lakers, I don't think that that's going to be as easy as they make it out to be, because I look at when LeBron, even though he's older in his career, he's still playing at a really high level. And when he wants to play defense, he is a really good defender. Then I look at AD. There's no question that Anthony Davis is an elite defender. Has been, I don't know if he's won Defensive Player of the Year. I think he has, but is in that conversation every single year. Then I look at Montrezl Harrell and the absolute dog that he is. He loves to get after guys. So that's why I say, the Lakers, you're right about this from a defensive standpoint. Assuming that the Nets just have an easy train to the finals, I would not pick them over the Lakers. We will have to see how all this works out on the floor.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch. And when you're reliant on DeAndre Jordan, man, I think that makes you really nervous. And I look at this team, and you don't have a legit 7-footer on this team. Mm-hmm. You look at Kevin Durant is 6'10", DeAndre Jordan's 6'11". You don't have a legit 7-footer on this team. Mm-hmm. So you're going to struggle. DeAndre Jordan is not the Lob City guy that he used to be. And frankly, his game, and we talk about this all the time on the show, DeAndre Jordan's game doesn't work in the NBA anymore. Yeah. Because that run the floor and lob it up to the big man, that guy that's in the half-court set who can't shoot a jumper, and DeAndre Jordan cannot shoot. Yeah, he's not a jumper guy. He is a tip dunk, alley-oop, let me get a rebound, I'll occasionally block a shot guy. And to me, he's not even a rim runner. Rudy Gobert's a guy that you can count on to go up and down the floor, run rim to rim, block shots, finish a little bit at the cup, intimidate guys. But as soon as you pull him out on the high pick and roll, it's lob city and layup city for the opposition.
Right.
And I think that's we're seeing where the Jazz are struggling. The Nets are now in that exact same position. And when you're going to go up against teams that are quick and can guard the rim, I don't know that they match up even well with the Milwaukee Bucks. Because, and I know this is crazy, and I'm going to say it, anybody notice that 34 is hitting three-pointers now? Giannis Antetokounmpo is actually hitting three-pointers now. And he's looking more and more comfortable doing that. I am not convinced that this Brooklyn Net team, in a chemistry status or a roster build status, is even the best team in the East today.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, I think my concern is not offensively. I think, you've got, obviously you have plenty of firepower. Steve Nash is just going to have to figure out how all this works, and they're going to have to. The truth of the matter is they're just going to have to share the reps. I mean, that's just what it is, because guys like Harden and Durant and Kyrie, they make their money on their scoring ability. So Steve Nash is going to have to find a way to share the load in that sense. Now, defensively, I don't know, man. I mean, this team, Kevin Durant can play good defense. He's not a defensive guy, but he's shown he can play good defense, okay? He's never going to be Defensive Player of the Year, but he's capable. Whereas James Harden just isn't capable, is never going to be that guy. James Harden is like Carmelo Anthony of old. He's just never going to play defense. Kyrie is always going to be in the pick and roll. So, for him to play defense is going to be tough because he's always going to be getting picked. So I don't know. To me, this team's going to have to put up 125, 130 in the postseason to win games, and I'm not putting that past them. They're more than capable of doing that. But Steve Nash is going to have to put the pride down, tell these guys, hey, you got to be humble, and we're trying to win games. That's what it has to be.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, and then there's this whole Kyrie thing that we have to get into, because I don't know how many people know what's going on with Kyrie Irving, and if you don't, I'm just going to give it to you in a nutshell. One, it's on the video explanation of this is on my Twitter timeline from NBA WOB, WOB. It's one of the best Twitter accounts in the world. Has a whole video breakdown of this, but you know that Kyrie Irving walked away from the Nets last week and said, hey, with everything going on in the world, I just don't fucking feel like it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he said.
That's a quote. He told a teammate, I don't fucking feel like it when it comes to playing basketball. And, okay, I totally get that. You need a day or two. You need 5 days. Okay, take some time. Get your headspace right.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that. But it's not, it appears that that's not what the issue with Kyrie Irving is. What it appears is that the issue is you just don't want to play basketball.
Yeah.
Because for those of you who didn't see it, Kyrie Irving was videotaped either late Sunday night or early Monday morning at a massive birthday party for his sister in New Jersey, where he is from. He is seen in a club, one of his favorite clubs, that he's tweeted about, Insta'd about. Like, he went to his favorite club, hosted a party, and I don't know, you saw the video just like I did.
Yeah.
It must have been...
Oh, at least 50 people.
Had to have been.
At least.
Had to have been. At least. And so now you have all these people in that room, and he's there without a mask. He's on the dance floor with a bunch of people.
Well, and it's not just him without a mask. Everybody's
not wearing a mask.
Yeah.
So my question is, how bad is this?
Well, I think it's terrible. I think the first thing that has to be brought up is COVID, obviously, and I think number one, nobody should feel sorry for Kyrie Irving and what the league's going to do to him as far as COVID protocols and keeping everybody safe. I mean, that's something that has to be taken seriously. So that's number one. Number two, I think the message it sends to players who have lost family members. You brought up Karl Anthony Towns, but there's obviously a number of players in the league who've lost folks. I think the message Kyrie is sending is a terrible one. You don't care about COVID. You're just going to do whatever you want. And then thirdly, it goes without saying, the message he's sending to the franchise and to his old teammates and his new teammates is also
it's
terrible.
Horrendous.
This to me is not, from Kyrie, like I said earlier, it's not, hey, I want to retire. It's, hey, I think I'm better than you. Hey, I think I'm untouchable. Hey, I can do whatever I want, and it's not really going to matter because at the end of the day, I'm Uncle Drew, and I do commercials, and I'm Nike, and this is all great. And to me, this is an opportunity for the league to send a message, and I really hope they do send a message on the COVID thing, and I hope they put a statement out saying you can't just do whatever you want. I mean, that's really what the message should be here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they handle this, because the NBA has quite literally come out and said, if you're not going to follow the COVID protocol, you're not going to play in the NBA. They released a bunch of new COVID standards, and he immediately violated that. And they're talking about taking, for every game you miss because you have to be in quarantine, you're unpaid. They are going to take that away from you.
That's how it should be. That's what it should be.
Well, I mean, he's making, $31 million a year, and he's already hinted at an extension, which I think is crazy. So I'll just ask you, how much are you willing to pay Kyrie Irving?
Man, that's a tough question. I think Kyrie Irving is 30 to 40 for sure. When he's right. I think this version of Kyrie Irving, who seemingly thinks he's better than everyone and isn't playing a lot and all that, I don't even know that I'd want him on my team. That's the problem. I disagree that he's vital for them to win a championship. I think Kevin Durant. Yeah, I think Kevin Durant is more than capable enough of carrying a team offensively. And I think as long as that team that you have around him is playing defense, hey, Jared Allen, hey, Karis LeVert, because LeVert's a good defender too.
He is a very good defender.
So if you still had those guys and you had just Kevin Durant and then you added Harden to that mix, I think you'd really be in a great place. But I think with all the issues that Kyrie Irving presents, I'm not willing to pay the guy top dollar. I'm not.
I'm just telling you, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
He's not worth it to me. And I that's why I say, if you look at the Lakers, and I don't mean to sit here and espouse about how great the Lakers are.
Well, they're the best team in the league.
Right, but Dennis Schroeder is a guy that fits into your club. Mm-hmm. Kyrie Irving is really talented. I'll say the same thing about James Harden. James Harden's really talented. They're weirdos.
Yeah.
Like, Flat Earth Kyrie is who Kyrie is.
Yeah.
James Harden, I say, in all seriousness, I say this. James Harden's fat. He is out of shape.
He is.
And he looks old. He looks terrible. He looks like he doesn't want to play a whole lot of basketball.
Yeah.
He is ripping the organization. Oh, yeah, let me go ahead and trade for that guy. You texted me jokingly last night. How long is it going to take him to lose 20? I don't think that's such a joke. I think that's a pretty serious question.
I think it's a month, probably. Somewhere in there.
Come on, man. If you could lose 20 pounds in a month, well, you are a professional basketball player.
Dude, that's what he does, bro.
Yeah, he runs for a living. I get it.
I don't think it's so outlandish. Because think about it. He's got literally all day, every single day, to cut weight. I don't, it really, to me, it's not outlandish because that's what he does for a living. So, again, I guess, and maybe this speaks to his mindset and how different of a lifestyle he may be living. You're an NBA player. You get paid to be in shape, and you're a guy. You're not just like an average ass player, right? Like you're not. It'd be one thing if Jared Dudley put on 20 sitting on the bench. You'd be like, okay, you sit on the bench every night. I get it, right? And you're at the back end of your career. James Harden is in his prime as a scorer, as an NBA player.
Yeah.
You're in your prime. You thought it'd be cool to put on 20 pounds, and then you thought it'd be cool to upset the organization, rip the organization, not play with John Wall and Boogie Cousins, and you wanted to get out and go to Brooklyn and play with your boy from OKC. Like, I don't understand why it's okay for these athletes to not take their job seriously. Oh, that's right, because they don't fall off of trees, right? Guys like Harden, guys like Kyrie, guys like KD, they're not just falling off of trees, easy to walk down the street and find them.
That's the thing that blows me away.
Yeah.
Right, like we're going to talk about the Powerball.
Yeah.
I'm going to drive 2 hours out of my way, either tomorrow night or first thing Saturday morning, to buy Powerball tickets. James Harden gets a Powerball ticket, and he wins the Powerball every day.
Yeah.
Kyrie Irving wins Powerball
They're literally making $20,000 a minute.
I think Kyrie Irving's paid $401,000 a day.
Yeah.
A day.
Yeah.
This guy makes $400,000 a day.
And by the way,
doesn't want to come to work.
He's throwing that away to go to a party.
Doesn't want to come to work. And James Harden, who's paid much more than that,
yeah,
because he's making $40 million. And by the way, he's on the verge of getting an extension that's going to pay him $50 million a year, and he won't stop eating, like high sugar carbs.
Yeah.
Like the guy won't put the golden, packed Oreo, which is the best cookie on the market.
Stuffed golden Oreos.
Oh,
yeah.
He won't put them down.
Yeah.
He won't put down the chocolate wax rings.
Yeah.
Right? Because we all know that when you eat donuts, you got to start with chocolate wax rings.
Of course.
Right?
Tradition.
I mean, I'm floating over here in fat. My point is, so is James Harden.
It's bad, dude.
And this is what I've always said about weed. Like, wait, are you really telling me the NFL Combine is your ticket to the Powerball, and they want to hand you the money? But you know what? Hey, man, if you just don't smoke weed here for 6 weeks, you're going to be a multimillionaire, and you're going to have generational wealth.
Nah, I don't think so. I can't do that.
It's one blunt. Who cares?
I can't do that.
Hey, it's generational wealth. Just don't get arrested. Don't go out, get a DUI. Don't do that. Well, but you know what I'm saying? Like, this is what is so amazing to me about the NBA, and I just don't understand it.
Yeah,
I really don't. And you know what, man? At some point, maybe I will. Maybe I'll get it. I don't know. I doubt it.
Yeah.
Because I just can't relate to that.
Yeah.
I cannot relate to that. Make sure you
Hello.
It's English, bro. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Monty Show, Monty, The Monty Show. On YouTube, just search The Monty Show on YouTube. Hit subscribe. It really helps grow the channel. We are trying to get to 100 as soon as we can. Frankly, we're trying to get to 1,000 as soon as we can. So every follower
So tell your
counts.
friends about it. Get them
Let's
to
go.
the channel. Let's go. Come on.
Get the hose.
Fly your sister in like Kyrie. Get her to subscribe.
Yeah, COVID and stuff.